Evelyn Hart had died once. Or at least, she thought she had. The last thing she remembered was the cold marble floor of the palace throne room, her crown shattered, the blade of her most trusted general piercing her heart. Her vision had dimmed with regret and betrayal until she opened her eyes again in a glaringly white room. A hospital. The harsh antiseptic smell and mechanical beeping felt jarringly foreign. Evelyn tried sitting up, only for a sharp pain to shoot through her ribs. A nurse rushed over. "Miss Hart. Don't move too fast, your injuries haven't healed yet." "Miss Hart." Evelyn blinked. Her hands, soft, manicured, strangely unfamiliar, rested against a silk blanket. She caught sight of her reflection in the glass panel. It was her face, yet not her face. "You've transmigrated." The realization was sharp, ice-cold, and undeniable. Somehow, the spirit of Evelyn, the queen who once ruled an empire, now lived inside the body of another Evelyn Hart, a notorious heiress with a reputation so scandalous the tabloids practically worshipped her. And then the door opened. In walked a man whose presence filled the room like winter descending. Tall, imposing, crisp suit, sharper gaze. His eyes held no warmth, only duty, annoyance, and a flicker of something she couldn't name. Adrian Blackwood. The original memories of this body surged into Evelyn's mind. He was her fiancé. Or rather, the fiancé who despised her. Their engagement was arranged by their families, and the original Evelyn had spent years obsessing over him, scheming, chasing, manipulating, until Adrian avoided her like plague. What a headache. She exhaled, annoyed. What kind of mess have I landed in, she thought. And then, Adrian's eyes widened a fraction. His jaw tensed. He stared at her as if she'd slapped him. "What did you just say?" Evelyn frowned. "Nothing." But Adrian stiffened again. He had heard her thought. Word for word. Impossible. He stepped closer, his voice low and dangerous. "Say it again." "Say what again?" "That you're insufferable in both worlds." Evelyn thought dryly. Adrian froze. His pupils contracted. "You." He heard it. Every syllable. Clear as day. Panic flickered in his gaze, not outwardly, but deep, buried under layers of icy professionalism. He took a slow breath. "You're different." Evelyn turned her face away. People change after falling down the stairs. His eyes narrowed. "She's too calm. Too sharp." The old Evelyn would have clung to him, cried, screamed. But this woman. She looked at him with cool indifference. Evelyn pressed her palm to her forehead, thinking, wonderful. This world's Evelyn was a walking disaster. I'll need to fix that if I'm to survive. Adrian's posture stiffened at her thoughts. "You. Fix? What exactly are you planning, Evelyn?" She glared at him. "Stop calling me as if you own me." His breath faltered. Because the thought followed immediately. What kind of tyrant fiancé did I inherit? Evelyn didn't realize he heard that too until he turned his head away sharply, ears faintly red. "You." He told himself it was annoyance. Not embarrassment. Definitely not amusement. Before he could recover, the nurse returned to shoo him out. Adrian paused at the door, staring at Evelyn like a mystery he couldn't untangle. As soon as he stepped outside, Evelyn sighed. "First day in this new world," she muttered, "and I already want to abdicate." Adrian, standing just beyond the door, heard every word. And for the first time since meeting her, he almost smiled. The morning sunlight streamed through the penthouse windows, gilding everything with a mocking warmth Evelyn did not feel. She sat upright in the hospital bed, flipping through the phone the nurse returned to her phone now. It buzzed endlessly. Messages from tabloids. Reporters. Angry shareholders. Her own father scolding her. The original Evelyn Hart's reputation was so spectacularly terrible, Evelyn felt like applauding. Public fights with actresses. Social media tantrums. Lavish spending. Sabotaging Adrian's business negotiations by accidentally showing up drunk. A queen she might have been, but even in her past life she'd never seen such reckless stupidity. She groaned inwardly. Wonderful. I have inherited the legacy of a peacock with no brain. Outside the room, The footsteps she now recognized approached, cold, measured, unmistakably Adrian Blackwood. Evelyn straightened instinctively. A queen never let her enemy see weakness. The door slid open. Adrian entered again, expression unreadable, suit immaculate, a brisk chill following him like a personal climate. He said nothing at first, only observed her. Then, he heard her thought. If he stares at me like that again, I'll think he plans to charge me rent. His lips twitched. Barely. You seem energetic. That's what happens when people recover. No, he said quietly, stepping closer. The old Evelyn would have clung to me crying the moment I walked in. Why aren't you doing that? I have dignity, she said simply. His heartbeat stumbled, though he pretended not to notice. Her internal voice followed, sharp as a blade. And I'm not the fool who chased you like a duck after breadcrumbs. Adrian inhaled sharply. Evelyn narrowed her eyes. Are you all right? You look strange. I'm fine. Absolutely not fine. He cleared his throat and placed a folder on her lap. From the board. You're temporarily banned from public events until your recovery is confirmed. She smirked. Is that their polite way of telling me they're tired of my past idiocy? Adrian almost choked. Evelyn lifted a brow. What? Nothing, he muttered, looking away. Hilarious. The woman who once schemed to trap him into marriage was now openly insulting her own past behavior. And worse, she seemed genuinely unaware of how much amusement it sparked in him. He needed control. Order. Distance. He had none of those. Later that afternoon, Adrian summoned her to the Blackwood Group headquarters against the doctor's advice. Evelyn arrived dressed sharply, simple blouse, tailored trousers, hair tied back in a clean knot. Understated elegance, utterly unlike the flamboyant heiress the employees feared. Every person who passed whispered, "Is that Miss Hart? She looks different. She looks sober. That's new." Evelyn mentally rolled her eyes. Reputation of a drunken goat, lovely. Inside his office, Adrian waited behind a massive desk, posture immaculate. Sit. A king issuing an order. Unfortunately for him, she was a queen. I'll stand, she said, crossing her arms. His eyebrow twitched. Evelyn. Yes, Adrian. Why does she suddenly sound like she has leverage over me? Her lips curved. If you brought me here to lecture me, save your breath. I don't intend to repeat the past Evelyn's disasters. You won't have to deal with her tantrums anymore. He stared at her, searching, analyzing, perplexed. Then her thought hit him. But if he becomes insufferable, I have no problem returning the favor. Adrian coughed. Noted. He gestured to a presentation on the screen. There's a company banquet next week. You will attend as my fiancée. She frowned. Why? I thought you hated being associated with me. His expression didn't change, but his internal reaction, to her surprise, did. He didn't realize she couldn't hear his thoughts, but his posture betrayed something between irritation and protectiveness. He spoke slowly. The media already circulated news of your fall. If you hide, they'll assume guilt or scandal. Attending proves you've changed, stabilizes stock value, and ends rumors. Evelyn considered it. This world's Evelyn had chased Adrian relentlessly. Attending a banquet beside him would only revive old misunderstandings. But strategically, it made sense. She lifted her chin. Fine. Adrian blinked. Fine. Yes. I won't embarrass you. His heartbeat jumped. Why is she so calm? Why am I relieved? Then she thought. Though if someone tries to frame me, I'll dismantle them. Adrian stiffened. Who would frame you? You tell me, she said coolly. Silence stretched. Because in his office doorway stood Claire Foster, his assistant, expression sweet, eyes filled with jealousy sharp enough to cut glass. Evelyn immediately sensed the hostility. And Claire's inner thought, if Evelyn could have heard it, would have been a dagger. Just you wait, Evelyn Hart. The banquet will be your downfall. But only Adrian heard Evelyn's thought. That assistant looks like trouble. A two-faced snake if I've ever seen one. Adrian's jaw clenched. Claire smiled sweetly at him, pretending innocence. CEO Blackwood, the banquet seating chart is ready. Adrian looked from Claire to Evelyn. For the first time, he wondered. Who exactly was the woman he was engaged to now? The banquet sparkled beneath grand chandeliers, every corner drenched in gold and opulence. Guests moved in clusters of polished smiles and whispering schemes. Yet all conversation stilled the moment Evelyn entered on Adrian's arm. The old Evelyn Hart had always walked into rooms like a storm, loud, frantic, desperate to be seen. But tonight, she walked with the quiet power of someone who once ruled a kingdom. Her dress was simple but breathtaking, her steps measured, her gaze cool. She didn't cling to Adrian. She didn't chase attention. She simply existed, and the room bent around her presence. Adrian's fingers briefly tightened around her arm before he let go. He hadn't meant to do it, but Evelyn's inner monologue, sharp, sarcastic, endlessly unpredictable, kept hitting his mind like sparks. These people are staring like they expect me to juggle flaming torches. He fought the urge to laugh. She scanned the banquet hall with an expression that could only be described as regal amusement. Adrian lingered for a moment, watching her, then stepped aside to greet shareholders. Evelyn moved through the crowd with the confidence of a queen assessing her court. Yet all the while, she felt a pair of hostile eyes on her. Claire Foster, Adrian's assistant. Claire stood beside the bar, her smile beautiful but brittle, like a wine glass ready to shatter. Though Evelyn wasn't aware of the details, her instincts whispered danger. The woman smiled too sweetly, watched too closely. She held her clutch like a concealed weapon. That woman is coiled like a snake, Evelyn thought. Across the room, Adrian almost dropped his glass. Evelyn approached a refreshment table when a familiar voice greeted her. Miss Hart. You look surprisingly calm tonight. Marcus Grant, Adrian's friend and CFO. Gentle, warm-eyed, observant. He had always been ignored by the former Evelyn, who only had eyes for Adrian. But today, Evelyn offered him a genuine smile. Calm is easier than chaos, she replied. Marcus chuckled. That's new. Probably the first intelligent thing this body has said in years, she thought casually. Adrian, overhearing from all the way across the ballroom, pressed his hand against his forehead. Marcus studied her. You really have changed, Miss Hart. So everyone keeps telling me. Marcus nodded, still watching her as though she were a puzzle he finally wanted to solve. I think Adrian's noticing too. Before Evelyn could respond, a waiter approached with a tray of champagne. Miss Hart, this one is specially prepared for you. Evelyn accepted it, but something felt wrong. The scent was oddly sweet, too sweet for champagne. Her instincts prickled like a blade against her neck. Drugged, she thought silently. In an instant, Adrian was there. He moved so fast it startled her. His hand closed around her wrist before the glass touched her lips. Don't drink that, he said. His tone wasn't cold, it was deadly serious. Evelyn stared at him in confusion. Why not? He took the glass from her hand with such force the liquid trembled. Without explanation, he set it on a passing tray and shot a sharp look across the ballroom. Evelyn followed his gaze and found Claire watching them. Claire's smile vanished the moment their eyes met. The tension cracked like thunder. Before Evelyn could process it, a foreign investor stumbled toward her dramatically, clutching his forehead. Miss Hart, I feel dizzy. Did you put something in my drink? The room gasped. Phones rose. Cameras flashed. Voices swelled like a gathering storm. Again. Unbelievable. She hasn't changed after all. Evelyn's face remained eerily calm. I didn't touch your drink. But the investor leaned on her, pretending to collapse. Murmurs intensified, feeding on the scandal. Claire's eyes gleamed triumphantly from behind the crowd. Yet everything froze when Adrian stepped in front of Evelyn, blocking the cameras, shielding her with his body. His voice rang out like a blade striking marble. That's enough. No one accuses her without evidence. The crowd fell silent. Even Evelyn's breath stopped. Adrian placed a steadying hand on her back. Stay with me. She didn't understand why her heart fluttered, but she felt it. And the thought that formed in her head was one he heard loud and clear. Why does it feel like he's protecting me, not out of duty, but because he wants to? Adrian's lips parted slightly at the raw honesty of her thought. His heartbeat was embarrassingly loud in his own ears. For the first time since their engagement began, he spoke softly to her, so softly only she could hear. "I won't let anyone hurt you." And Evelyn realized. The trap had failed. And the CEO who once hated her was no longer keeping his distance. The morning after the banquet, Evelyn woke to an unfamiliar tightness in her chest, not pain, but the lingering warmth of something dangerously close to comfort. Adrian Blackwood had protected her. Not for image, not for business, not for the sake of their engagement contract. But because he wanted to. She could still feel the weight of his hand on her back, the way his voice softened just for her. That man had been colder than the northern tundra in the memories of the original Evelyn. Yet last night, he stood between her and the world like a silent storm. She pressed her fingers lightly to her temple. "Get a hold of yourself. He's still the man who wanted nothing to do with this engagement. And I still have no idea why I'm here." Her past life's memories flooded her again. The throne room. The betrayal. The blade. Duke Rowan's horrified face as she fell. The confusion of her transmigration still knotted tightly inside her. Why this world? Why this body? Who brought her here, and for what purpose? A knock pulled her from her thoughts. "Come in." Marcus entered with a small bag in hand. "I brought you breakfast," he said. Adrian left early for a meeting. Evelyn thanked him, accepting the food. Marcus lingered, studying her with a soft, unreadable gaze. "You handled last night well," he said. "The Evelyn I used to know would have had a dramatic meltdown." She snorted. "The Evelyn you used to know had a talent for self-destruction." Marcus hesitated. "You know, Adrian didn't have to defend you. But he did." Without hesitation. Her fingers tightened around the coffee cup. "I noticed. He's not a reckless man," Marcus continued. "He's always controlled, calculating. But last night he reacted with his heart, not his mind." Evelyn swallowed. She didn't want to read into Adrian's actions. She didn't want to hope for something that didn't exist. "I don't plan to rely on him," she said firmly. "I know," Marcus smiled. "But it seems he's planning to rely a little on you." Before she could respond, the door opened again, this time revealing Claire Foster. Claire's smile was pleasant, but her eyes were daggers dipped in honey. "Miss Hart," she said sweetly. "I heard you fainted after the banquet. I came to check on you." Evelyn raised an eyebrow. "Fainted? Who started that rumor?" Claire blinked innocently. "It's just what some guests reported." "Of course it is." Evelyn didn't need to read minds to know Claire had planted the story herself. Marcus shot Claire a sharp look. "She didn't faint. Adrian took her home." Something dark flickered in Claire's expression. "Well," Claire said tightly, "I hope she doesn't cause more trouble. Investors are still talking about last night." Evelyn smiled regal, serene, terrifying. "Don't worry, Claire. Trouble only follows those who deserve it." Claire stiffened. Her nails dug into her palm through her clutch. "I'll remember that." When she swept out of the room, the air finally eased. Marcus sighed. "Be careful around her. She's ambitious. Too ambitious." "I noticed," Evelyn replied, voice icy. "People like her were common in the palace. They smile as they slide poison under your door." Marcus paused. "Palace? You really do speak differently now." Evelyn almost cursed herself. She needed to stop letting her old life slip into conversation. But before either could say more, her vision suddenly blurred. For a split second, she saw something. A flash of gold armor. A blood-stained throne. And a familiar pair of ash-gray eyes filled with anguish. Duke Rowan. Her heart slammed into her ribs. His face vanished as quickly as it came. Evelyn gasped, clutching the edge of the table. Marcus rushed to her side. "Evelyn? What's wrong?" She swallowed hard. "I remembered something. Someone." The air thickened. Her breath shook. Adrian arrived moments later, striding in with an urgency he tried and failed to hide. His gaze went straight to Evelyn, scanning her face. "You're pale," he said, voice lower than usual. What happened? Before she could respond, another shock froze her blood. Behind Adrian stood a man no one else seemed to notice. Tall, elegant, dressed in clothes that didn't belong to this world. Duke Rowan. His eyes locked on hers with a mixture of relief and sorrow. "Your Majesty," he whispered. Evelyn's entire body trembled. Adrian heard her thought loud and clear. "Rowan. He's here. My past has followed me." He tensed, staring at her with growing confusion and concern. Evelyn's past life had just stepped into her new one. And nothing would ever be the same. Evelyn could barely breathe. Rowan, her Rowan, stood behind Adrian like a ghost woven from memories she had tried to bury. His silver-grey eyes were exactly as she remembered, loyal, solemn, unyielding. Yet there was something different about him in this world. His presence felt heavier, darker, as if he had carried her death with him across lifetimes. She blinked, and just like that, he vanished. Not gone. Hidden. Invisible to everyone except her. Marcus stared at her with growing alarm. "Evelyn? Did you see something?" Adrian's voice was tense. Was it another memory? Her heart hammered. She wanted to deny it, to pretend everything was normal. But Adrian could hear every frantic thought swirling inside her. Why is Rowan here? How did he cross worlds? Did he die too? Was he sent here? Did he see me die? Did he follow me? Adrian's eyes darkened. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Who is Rowan?" Her breath stopped. Marcus blinked. "Who?" Evelyn realized too late she'd never said the name aloud. Adrian had fished it straight from her mind. "I didn't say." "You thought it," Adrian said quietly. "And I heard it." She swallowed hard. "Rowan is someone from before. Someone who shouldn't be here." Marcus exchanged a glance with Adrian. "You mean before you fell down the stairs?" "No," she said, voice trembling, "before this life." Adrian's expression flickered. His walls wavered. Something dangerously close to protectiveness rose in him. "We'll figure this out," he said firmly. But even as he spoke, Evelyn's mind roiled with questions she couldn't voice. She needed time, space, answers. Before she could gather her thoughts, her phone buzzed. A notification flashed across the screen, bold and merciless. Breaking news. Scandal at Blackwood banquet, evidence points to Evelyn Hart. Her blood turned cold. The link opened to grainy paparazzi photos showing her near the fainting investor, along with anonymous sources claiming she had threatened him earlier in the night. Claire's handiwork. Marcus cursed under his breath. Adrian's jaw tightened with slow-burning fury. "This is fabricated," Evelyn said steadily. Adrian nodded once. "I know." But the rest of the world wouldn't believe her until the truth was exposed. And Claire knew it. A sudden knock on the door interrupted the tension. Claire entered, pretending to be out of breath. "CEO Blackwood, I'm so sorry. I tried to stop the media but..." Adrian looked at her like he finally saw through every layer of her disguise. Evelyn didn't have to think anything. Her silence rang louder than words. Claire's smile trembled. "Miss Hart, you should issue a public apology before." "Why?" Adrian cut in coldly. Claire froze. He stepped toward her, voice icy enough to draw blood. "You were the one who arranged the investor's approach. You were the one who spread the rumor that Evelyn fainted. And you were the one who contacted the press." Her heartbeat stuttered. What? "No. I would never." Every lie made his expression colder. Marcus stepped forward. "Claire, you should stop." Claire's mask cracked. Desperation twisted her face. "Why are you defending her? She's a problem. She ruins everything, she'll ruin you, Adrian." Adrian didn't flinch. "Leave." Claire went pale. "Adrian, please. You can't choose her over me. She's nothing but an obstacle." Evelyn felt Rowan's unseen gaze burning behind her. Another life. Another betrayal. The echo of her downfall. But this time, she wasn't alone. Adrian moved slightly, placing himself between Evelyn and Claire without even realizing it. His body acted before his mind did. Claire's voice rose. She will destroy the company. Adrian snapped. No, he said, voice low and lethal. She is the only one who's kept it from falling apart lately. The room went silent. Evelyn stared at him, stunned. Adrian exhaled slowly, as though he had just made peace with a truth he had been resisting. I trust her, he said firmly. More than anyone else in this room. Claire staggered back as if physically struck. You trust her, she whispered. You never trusted anyone. Adrian turned to Evelyn, his gaze unwavering, his thoughts pouring so clearly she almost felt them on her skin. I trust you, because I know your truth. Because I hear every heartbeat of your mind. Because you're not the woman you used to be. Because you're someone I want to protect. Evelyn's breath trembled. Adrian spoke aloud, voice soft but certain. Evelyn. I believe in you. Claire fled the room like a collapsing tower. The moment the door closed, Evelyn looked up at Adrian, heart pounding, and whispered the thought she couldn't hide. Why are you doing this for me? He swallowed, eyes dark and unguarded for the first time. Because, he murmured, somewhere along the way, you became the only person I don't want to lose. Evelyn felt the world shift beneath her feet. But before she could respond, Rowan appeared again, behind Adrian, eyes filled with warning. Your Majesty, he whispered, though only Evelyn could hear him, your past is not done with you. And Evelyn realized. The biggest danger was not Claire. Not the scandal. Not the media. It was the truth she brought from her previous life. And the man who had followed her through death to this world. The world outside Evelyn's window blurred into streaks of city lights. She sat in Adrian's office, hands clasped tightly in her lap, aware of every rise and fall of his breath as he stood beside her. He was pretending to read documents. She was pretending she didn't notice him staring at her between every two lines. Neither of them had spoken since Claire's meltdown hours earlier. But Evelyn could feel Rowan's presence in the corner of the room, silent, watchful, invisible to everyone but her. The air buzzed with danger. Adrian broke the silence first. The board is demanding an emergency meeting about the scandal. Evelyn nodded. Let me guess, they want you to break the engagement for public image. Adrian's jaw tightened. They can demand anything they want. I'm not doing it. Her heart stuttered. She turned her head toward him. Adrian. He looked at her, eyes calm but fierce. I don't care what they think. I'm choosing you. Rowan's expression darkened at those words. He stepped forward, though only Evelyn could see him. Your Majesty, do not be swayed by this man. He cannot protect you the way I can. Evelyn's breath hitched. Rowan, why are you here? Adrian froze. You're talking to him. Evelyn cursed silently. She'd spoken aloud. Marcus entered the room then, giving them only seconds of reprieve. The meeting starts in 10 minutes. But there's more. Claire vanished. Before security could question her. Adrian stiffened. Vanished. Marcus nodded grimly. And, someone hacked the company servers 20 minutes ago. They're targeting the investor files, the ones tied to last night. Evelyn rose immediately. She's trying to pin everything on me before we expose her. Adrian exchanged a look with Marcus. We need to move. Now. They rushed to the executive floor's secure room. Screens glowed with code, files erasing themselves one by one. Marcus swore. If those disappear, the blame falls entirely on Evelyn. Adrian shot Evelyn a quick look. I won't let that happen. Rowan's voice echoed through the air. Majesty, let me handle this. These men are not capable of protecting you from a threat that spans worlds. Evelyn clenched her teeth. Rowan, I don't belong to a throne anymore. This is my life now. Rowan's expression shattered with grief. But you died to save us. I failed to protect you. Let me redeem myself. Before Evelyn could respond, the lights flickered and Claire's face appeared on all the monitors, smirking. Hello, Evelyn, she purred. I hope you enjoyed the preview last night. Because this time, you won't escape. Claire, Adrian growled, stop this now before you destroy yourself. Her laugh was cold. You were supposed to choose me, Adrian. Not her. Never her. Her fingers danced across her keyboard. The hacking accelerated. Rowan stepped closer to Evelyn. Give me permission. I can interfere with her energy. I have the power of our world. Evelyn hesitated. Adrian turned toward her, misunderstanding the situation completely but reading every fear in her mind. Evelyn, he whispered, whatever you're thinking, you're not alone. Her chest tightened. Rowan was her past. Adrian was her present. And she could not let either be destroyed. She closed her eyes. I choose my own fate. A surge of clarity washed through her. Evelyn strode to the main console, fingers hovering above the keys. Her queenly instincts, her strategic mind, her lifetime of reading people, all of it aligned. She muttered under her breath, Claire Foster, you underestimate me. And she began typing. Adrian and Marcus watched in stunned silence as her hands flew across the keyboard with breathtaking precision. Evelyn executed a counterhack, rerouted Claire's attack, and trapped her signal location. Within minutes, the monitors shifted. And Claire's access collapsed. Evelyn exhaled shakily. She's done. Marcus looked awed. Where did you learn to do that? She smiled faintly. In my world, assassination came in every form. You learn to survive. Adrian stepped closer. You saved my company. Her eyes met his. No. We saved each other. Rowan watched them quietly. His form shimmered slightly. Your Majesty, your soul stabilized the moment you chose. Chose? Evelyn echoed. Rowan nodded. Between life and death. Between your world and this one. I was sent to guide you. But your path is yours alone. His form began to fade, the edges dissolving like mist. Rowan, Evelyn whispered, throat tightening. He bowed deeply. Live well, my queen. And then, he was gone. Evelyn's breath trembled as she stared at the empty air. Adrian reached for her hand. This time, she didn't pull away. What now? She asked softly. He squeezed her fingers. Now, we finish rewriting fate together. She smiled, a real one, warm and unguarded. The world felt new. Her past was gone. Her future was hers. And beside her stood the man who'd once hated her. Now willing to burn the world to protect her. Evelyn Hart had died once. But this time, she lived.